Thank you for coming, for joining us. And my name is Anatoly Motkin. I'm president of StrategEast. And today the topic of our StrategEast live session is Eurasia in European AI ecosystem. In February this year, the European Commission has released the white paper on artificial intelligence, European approach to excellence and trust, in which the basic principles and tasks for building the AI ecosystem of trust and excellence in the European Union are formulated. Given the success of AI-based projects in Eurasia, especially Belarusian and Ukrainian, it is important that this region can become part of the global AI ecosystem. What should be done by Eurasian governments, leaders of the IT industry, and EU officials? So first, let me introduce our distinguished guests. It's Nino Inukidze, Rector of Business and Technology University, Georgia. Gary Fowler, CEO, President, and co-founder of GSD Venture Studios, and one of the top AI visionaries today in the world. And Oles Petriv, CTO of Reface AI, one of the, I think, most successful AI projects these days in Eurasian region. So the first question would be, in AI white paper of European Union, the European Commission on one hand recognizes that EU is far behind US and Asia, I think mainly China, and in AI development, and on the other hand, it sets ambitious goals for EU to develop this industry. So what does it take for the countries of Eurasia to become an integral part European project for the development of artificial intelligence? And this question I would like to address you, Nino, from your perspective, and in your university of an AI, special AI center. So maybe you could just tell in a couple of words, how does it look like from Georgian perspective, and how do you look on the integration with Georgian experience with the EU ambitions, please?
Well, thank you very much, Anatoly, for inviting me for the discussion. We have started this kind of discussion in terms of Silk Road Forum held in Georgia 1 year ago, when we discussed possible development of national AI strategy in the country and integrating AI solutions to the different industries. So what I think, first of all, is that it's time for every country in the Eurasian region, without an exception, to start thinking about developing the national AI strategy. So from global and long-term perspective, the development of national AI strategy will definitely define the right direction of countries' socio-economic development in Eurasia. So what I can say is there are countries Eurasian countries willing to become an integral part of the European project. These countries need to have clear vision on how to boost technology and industrial capacity through access to public sector data, addressing some certain socio-economic challenges, especially in labor markets, and how to ensure the adequate legal and ethical framework while adopting these strategies. At Business and Technology University, what I can say is that we have recently finalized the research paper, the first part of the research, in terms of analyzing the needs of adopting national AI strategy to the country. And the results demonstrate that there are certain, the absence of national AI strategy is really serious concern, and can bring really serious threats to the country in the nearest future. What I can say now is that the European Union is one of the leading powers supporting the development of strategies by its member countries, even though there are several, and not few, by the way, countries in the region which have not only adopted the strategy, but even thought about the need. There are 25 European countries who signed the Declaration of Cooperation on Artificial Intelligence. I think it was 2 years ago, and but still there are several cases in the Eurasian region who do not have such a strategy, and I think it's something we have to discuss. One more thing what I want to say is that definitely national strategies will be different regarding the countries, because every country has its strategic sectors willing to be developed, but for sure there are several directions which countries should at least cover if they are willing to become an integral part of the European project. So these directions are, first of all, data protection laws, which we have to think about. These directions are the research environment and the ways to support the whole research ecosystem within the region. These are the directions covering workforce preparation for job displacement. I mean, reskilling and upskilling the workforce for future jobs which will exist in the nearest future. These are strategic sectors where to invest and where to integrate the AI solutions. And I think last but not least is certain strategy and vision of engaging in international collaboration, which some countries still do not have. So if we are discussing the European project and the ways of becoming an integral part of the project, these are the directions we have to think about first of all.
Thank you, Nino. But as a follow-up question, what authorities do you need? It's your vision, and it's a very precise outline of what should be done. But who are actually your partners on the governmental side actually working on all this? Because there is some legislative stuff that you described, but also workforce preparations. Who should prepare this force in Georgia?
Well, I think that looking at international experience is very much needed, especially the countries which have adopted national strategies already. If we try to, if we let different companies or even industries try to innovate and try to test different approaches, give access to data with certain privacy laws and so on and so on. I think that is the right direction to start. In case of Georgia, we have, Georgia's Innovations and Technology Agency. We have Ministry of Education, Ministry of Economics, with whom we might start identifying the right industries from where to start the integration process. So I'm happy to say that the discussion of launching the national strategy process has been started in our country, and it involved international organizations as, for example, UN Center for Artificial Intelligence and some others, but it's been under discussion still. And as I know, not only Georgia but other countries from the region are still discussing but not taking certain actions, but there's definitely limited time. The pandemic has shown us how important it is to do things towards digital transformation in a short period of time. So I think it's the right moment to start doing things.
Thank you, Nino. And now if I may ask you, Gary, from your perspective, you have experience and these sides of the Atlantic from Eurasian countries as well. And how do you think, first, in these countries, what is the expertise? What is the level of expertise? And as we know, in Belarus and Ukraine, it's a little bit higher rather than in other countries that we discuss. Please share it with us, and how all these initiatives or entrepreneurial initiatives are integrated with the global AI industry, please.
Sure, absolutely. So, part of the challenge is there's a lot of talk and there's not a lot of action. And the thing is, it's funny for me because I've been through this with 15 startups. I started the Top Accelerator in Russia at Skolkovo Startup Academy, GVA, Click Software, the company that we started back in 1998, of which I was on the original management team. We sold for $1.35 billion in August. So every time there was a lot of talk, and now everything's Israel's great, things change. I believe this is the greatest time for countries to embrace artificial intelligence. AI is the new electricity. It is a beginning. It's similar to the beginning of the 20th century. Imagine all the changes that took place when alternating current was identified, manufacturing, agricultural. Our lives got better, the quality of our lives, and we are there today with it. So I believe we need to have less talk and more action. So what kind of things are critically important? In Belarus and the Ukraine, in Georgia, think of the incredible science talent that's there that's untapped. If you go to Belarus, and by the way, I'm CEO of a company in Belarus today. It's one of my portfolio, IREX. So he is actually the co-creator of Viber. I mean, this is a gem. So we've taken he double PhD. We've taken that talent and now created a global company that has $100 million in pipeline. So what does it mean? It means you need to have multicultural teams. Having diverse teams is proven to be more effective. You've got to be regionally diverse. So for instance, Anatoly, if you got great science talent and it's located in Ukraine or Belarus, use that talent. If you've got incredible operational expertise in the United States and the access to capital, use it. Because what we want to do is we want to create a global decentralized team and where everybody wins. So if you got the development done in Ukraine, Belarus, etc., you actually are creating a lot of jobs. On the other side of it, you have access to the capital, you have access to doing exits, you have access to partners worldwide. So what we need to do is we need to be more cohesive. Nina's right. This has been an incredible time. 92% of the companies, 6 months ago, according to McKinsey, 92% of the companies were talking about digital transformation. 5 years ago, I was one of the first users of Zoom with Eric. So I've been introduced. Think about what has transformed. In the last 5 months, they've gone from 30 million users a day to 300 million plus. Look at where we are. We're now doing conferences online. Now what I say is embrace the change. Each one of us here has already started. The thing is, who's going to win? Now we got to take things like AI unsupervised to be able to help us with assistance. The other thing is, think about our own lives and where there's opportunities for these companies in these countries. Each one of us today on this call have over 300,000 items in your personal cloud. 300. The entire websites on the World Wide Web in 1996 were 257,000. You have more on your own personal cloud than the entire web. Now, think about, every day we say, oh, I don't remember if I got that email or that file. You know the file exists, but you can't find it. Why? You've either forgotten the keywords or the location. And it's located in Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, 20 plus repositories. We are inundated. It's infobesity. So there are opportunities to take that AI, the talent, and to be able to synthesize that. So today you have 300,000. In 5 years, you'll have 10 million. So imagine for the companies that are in Tbilisi, in Kiev, and Minsk to be able to take that talent and understand how to create AI assistance. So look where there's practical applications. Don't just develop stuff and avoid. Do your customer discovery. Work together. Stay positive. The other thing is, hey, listen, the glass isn't half empty. It's half full. It's not so-so, oh, I don't know, maybe it'll work. Let's get stuff done. So if you look at the greatest entrepreneurs that are out there and the countries that really advance, they believe, they keep positive. They actually, instead of talk, they're taking action. We each need to take action and we need to work together. Listen, there's a lot of incredible problems, challenges. Look at the world population. And in the last 100 years, the population of the world has quadrupled. Now, based on that, take it 200 years in the future. Do you think we're going to have to look for other places to be, right? I was on a space tech conference as one of the key AI experts 2 or 3 days ago. And one of the things that came up, it's amazing. How many planets are within our own galaxy? 40 billion Earth-like planets. Billion. How many galaxies are in the universe based on the Hubble telescope? There are over 100 billion. So take 40 billion times 100. Think about the possibilities, right? We are just in the beginning of baby steps of exploring. We've got to work together to say, how can we use artificial intelligence? By the way, the European Space Agency is using AI for travel today. Think about practical applications. Yes, it's about workforce management. Yes, it's about optimization. Yes, it's about agriculture. But think about where the practical applications. The other thing is, the beauty of it is, a lot of those same clusterization, knowledge graphs, a lot of the same technology can be applied to different areas. Think about where those routines, where those challenges are, and apply it differently. You've got the greatest talent in the world. Use what you got. It's amazing. It's like having a Ferrari in the garage, and you open the door and you look at your Ferrari and say, oh, I love my Ferrari, but nobody else ever sees it. And you never take it on the track. It's crazy. Open the door, lift up the garage, pull it out, enjoy what you've got. It's incredible. Now is the time. I wrote a paper at Stanford about bilateral technology trade between the US and Russia back in the early 2000s, before anybody was talking about that stuff. And I said the same thing then as I do now. It's getting out the door, and you've got the talent. So from my standpoint, I created GSD, Get Stuff Done Venture Studios, just for that reason. The reason is, what you have to do is have some conduits to be able to get to those global markets. A couple successes. My partner, by the way, is David Yang from Abbey. I don't know if you know David, the Armenian. He is my partner. So we co-founded a company together called Yva. That company is now over $600 million, top 10 AI HR companies in 4 years. If I can do it, I'm not the smartest guy in the world by any means. Each one of you can do it, because you're a lot smarter than I am. I'm just a country boy from Pennsylvania. So get out there. Go out. Build these cross-border teams. Go out and use the scale. Use the talent where you have. Develop these partnerships. And so when I say it, I mean in a very structured kind of way. You know, the goal is a couple of successes, a couple of billion-dollar exits. When we did Click Software, it was a little tiny company from Israel. People said, oh, it's not going to succeed. It's going to go out of business. These were Israeli and Russian and Ukrainian scientists. So we brought it over to the US in 1998. I changed the name of the company to Click Software. We weren't sure what was going to happen. We said, we're going to do an IPO in Nasdaq. We did the IPO in Nasdaq. It was one of the most successful IPOs that year. Company took off. Here we are, August of last year, Salesforce bought the company for over $1 billion. It wasn't going to do it. It can be done. So believe in the dream, and you've got the talent. Just use what you have. I'm sure Nino has it. I'm sure you have it, Anatoly. Olis has. You have the talent. Let's just use what we got.
Thank you. To the industry, and if I may ask you, Olis, your company and your product that you are developing is one of the leading, and I think today it's a leader in downloads in App Store in Ukraine, as I know. So if you can just in a couple of words first describe what is actually your flagship product, and the second, how do you see the challenges and opportunities for AI industry in Ukraine from your perspective, please?
Thank you for invitation. Nice to be a part of this conversation. Yeah, our company, Yva.ai, it's technology company. We are providing different businesses with tools that allows you to modify videos with humans in such way that some particular identity of people on this video can be easily altered in a second. So maybe everyone of you heard about such stuff as deepfake. Right now is a buzzword with such negative connotation, but our mission is to minimize negative impact of this, as for me, great technology, and provide as much useful tools for creative industry, and not only for creative industry, with this technology as fast as we can. So right now we are a team of more than 40 people, more than 30 engineers and ML specialists, one of the top ML specialists in Ukraine, and more people want to join us because Ukraine right now is on a stage where we already have a lot of great tech guys, which spend a lot of time doing outsource, and everyone is bored to just to write code for some guy somewhere and not be able to get some benefit from this time you spend on doing great stuff, and not having access to the result of this stuff. So great guys with bright minds, big experience, looking for teams that are trying to build something new, and to become a part of some new big story. So last 2 years we spent a lot of time on filtered best guys to create a team that will be able, first of all, to create good product, and second, to inspire other guys in Ukraine to join us and start to build ML community in Ukraine more and more. We have a lot of interaction with data science community in Ukraine. We are doing we're helping to our data science conferences to collect more and more bright minds. And as I see, Ukrainian ML and data science community is on the right path. I know that there are a lot of initiatives from government or some other institutions, and a lot of such initiatives related to AI and data science and IT in general in Ukraine usually sounds very impressive and for all good and not bad and so on, but usually especially when government try to I will call help somehow industry, but using governmental instruments, it not always lead to good results. So right now, as I see, data science and AI community in Ukraine doing good stuff, creating more and more product companies. We have more and more interesting events that are trying to build community. But right now we don't have actually efficient ways for government to help somehow, or even line up with processes that are already going inside data science and data science community in Ukraine. So I think European Union, maybe, I don't know, but maybe in European Union there are more working instruments how to cooperate with technical community in productive way. So I hope we will have also some way to interact in such way that it will not lead to our Ukrainian Silicon Valley artificially created without organic flow of investment specialists and so on. And right now we are doing what we can. So first of all, industry is successful companies, and we're trying to build successful company that will provide global market with solutions that can help revitalize, for example, content. One of possible applications for our technology is that imagine you can select any in some years future. Imagine that on your favorite streaming service you can select any interesting movie, then select your favorite actor and look your favorite movie with some other actor that you would like, or even with yourself, and it will take few minutes to synthesize just for you unique content that only you will prefer, or totally new ways to create advertisement with more emotional connection with users that consume this advertisement and so on. But also, as any powerful technology, it has other side. So many governments, especially right now before, for example, election in US, are seriously concerned about possible misuse of deepfake technology and possible.
If I may just to interrupt you, we'll touch this issue a little bit later, and we'll discuss the deepfake and the fake news with using the means of artificial intelligence. So thank you for this answer, and I would like to ask you.
Yes, Anatoly. I can hear both.
I muted myself. Yeah. So, thank you. So EU sees its contribution to the development of AI not only its technological impact, but also as a value focused. So the Commission is convinced that international cooperation that promotes the respect of fundamental rights, including human dignity, pluralism, inclusion, non-discrimination, protection of privacy and personal data. And it will strive to export these values across the world. So what can the artificial intelligence bring those values to make their positive contribution to those values in Eurasia, especially here in Georgia, where it's we still, in Georgia, we do have the civil society, not like in some other countries, we'll not name them. And we do have a much more developed democracy, but still, we know that there is also some negative tendencies here in the country. So what's your perspective on this, please?
Well, if we are asking if artificial intelligence can bring these values to Eurasian countries, I think it definitely can. We all know that AI raises some potential ethical issues, and in Georgia, and I think in many other countries, the lack of awareness especially alerts this kind of danger regarding the potential, possibilities which AI might bring. So first of all, we need to build this awareness about the public good, what AI could bring to the society. What I can, say is that good AI governance, first of all, I think consists of balanced policy mix with just as much legislation as necessary and just as much freedom as possible. And for example, here at Business and Technology University, we are the first university to be launching the PhD in AI program, which we do with support of Leiden University from Netherlands, with support of UN Center for Artificial Intelligence. And the mission of the program will be to mainly focus on policy paper, on policymakers and certain regulations which are needed to open access of the researchers to certain data pools, to open, to integrate AI solutions to certain industries in the country. So let's all agree that government of each country is responsible for protecting citizens from various harms, but also governments are responsible for making sure that country develops economically and socially. So while discussing the ways of engaging in international collaborations, I think we all agree that it's critical to provide some human-centric, ethical and sustainable approach to every process, respecting the fundamental rights and values each country and each society has. In the process of fourth industrial revolution, we need to understand how AI can be used to achieve certain goals, but also how risks can be minimized in this process. For example, France has a very interesting approach. They have established some kind of ethics committee which works along with other sectoral committees, and it's an interesting way of promoting fundamental rights. So while discussing the ways of engaging in international collaboration, we have to understand that it's critical to start with providing human-centric, ethical, and very much sustainable approach to the processes. Respect the fundamental rights and values, but it might be done in a very balanced way to give some, access to public sector data or any other information which is very much needed for educational institutions, for research institutions, first of all, for companies, organizations working to deliver certain AI solutions to the industry. So it's a challenging thing to balance these two directions, but we have to think about it, and this is the first step towards integrating AI into multiple industries in the country.
Thank you, Nino. And the next question I would like to ask you, Gary. Last elections, U.S. elections, where everybody in this world, I think, learned the term fake news. And I think that the deep fake, and we started talking with Olis, and we'll get back to this with Olis, but both the artificial intelligence, both for control their population, but also for their own purposes, maybe beyond the borders of the country itself. And we know that there were accusations on the Hill about the Russian involvement in the states with fake news and their troll fabric. But also we know that the deep fake today is much more, or let's say the AI is much more developed to create or to develop the deep fakes. And what do you think should do the authorities? And also, what do you think should be the contribution of the industry itself? And that's something that we'll, right after talk to Olis. What should be the contribution of the industry itself? What means could use the industry to prevent the misuse of those technologies? Please.
Yeah, so, I was just thinking to myself, the people doing these deep fakes, they're so good, they ought to be working with Disney. I wouldn't be working about the deep fakes. I'd be, doing the next Mulan. So, but, in answer to your question, we always, I wrote an article with the CSO of Apple, Rick Orloff, about cybersecurity. So whenever a technology is developed, there's something to defend against, and then they make something better. There's an evolution of this thing. So I'm not sure we're ever going to be able to really capture it, but in answer to your question, we need technologies that can enable to detect it, so at least we know it's deep fake or not, right? So one is, do I know it's a deep fake or not? So, part of the challenge is, understanding that. The other thing is, I'm not sure how much you can regulate it, honestly, because now it's pervasive. I mean, think about the internet. When Vint and Cerf co-created the internet as DARPANET, they had no idea it was going to go around the world the way it is. And so I'm not sure we can control it. But what we can do is, one is, so training sets, making sure on the side that we're using compassionate. I sent you an article over, actually, compassionate training sets. It's very important for us to be able to train the systems right. It's very important for us to not rely. I mean, we've got to, fake news, by the way, has not just happened now, just so we're on the same page. Yes, it's gotten worse, but it's happened for a long time. I mean, look at the time of the Romans. It's literally, it's been around forever, since the beginning of humanity, I'm sure, that there's been fake news. So this isn't a new thing. It's just a bit more sophisticated and a bit more pervasive today. So I think what we have to do is, one is we kind of come up with systems that can be able to identify. I love those, by the way. Always, I listen to what you have to say. I think what you have is very, very interesting. But the thing is, again, how do we get those kind of things out to the market? And how do people understand that, this is, maybe the deal is, hey, listen, this is certified, not fake, like a UL stamp of approval. We have European Union stamp of approval, not fake. I think that would be great. I love that, if it could be done. But,
the seal.
What's that?
Then you can fake the seal.
Well, that could be it, right? And again, as I said, there's measures and countermeasures for everything. So the one thing, Mother Teresa said something one time. It was just incredible. She said, it's not about stopping war. It's about pro-peace. Take a different tack to this thing. It's going to happen, guys, seriously. So what we got to do is we got to understand there's going to be fake, a lot of things, and we got to, move forward with it. I'm not sure we can restrict it, seriously. I think what we have to do is understand it's going to happen. Humans are very creative, right? We come up with so many wonderful things, but let's figure out how we can use that in a very positive sense. And I said that about Disney and Mulan, but if they're that good, I'd be thinking about how I can make money with it. I don't care about fake news. I'd be thinking about how I can really create an enterprise so we all win together. And I'm not sure, we can debate the answer to this thing, but again, measures, countermeasures happen all the time. There's not really, from my perspective, that much we can do other than coming up with some type of AI that can actually detect it. Then there'll be one, as you said, Anatoly, they'll come up with a stamp of a seal, and there'll be a fake stamp of a fake seal. It's like doing, Louis Vuitton pocketbooks, right? Oh, they have a beautiful pocketbook. Then the Chinese have one. It's just the same. They put a seal on it. The Chinese make a hologram. It looks the same, right? It costs $0.25. Guess what? People still buy it. So now we're in, we got to just think differently. And one of the things that's very important is we need to tie together as a global community and think about how we can use this artificial intelligence to work together to promote things like peace and to promote humanity, to promote agriculture, things that are really important for us to sustain and work together. And we haven't done that enough. And that's not something I'm sure the AI can really do for us. It's something we need to bring together. We need to create these teams, and it's a win-win for everybody, not win-loses. We don't need a win-loss. We need win-wins. And, I'm absolutely for that. And I'm a cross-border kind of guy. I love all these opportunities that are out there today. I think that, in Lviv and Kiev and Odessa and incredible places where there's talent, it's, those pools are just waiting to hatch. It's like an egg hatching. And what we want to do is we want to create the next, the next masquerade. We want to create the next company to be able to take to the market. And I think that'll start to drive those people developing deep fakes in other directions because they're going to be able to do commercial success. and take care of their families. And that's really important. Let's turn it into how we can commercialize it and to be able to make it so everybody wins.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary. And the next question to you, Liz. Please tell me about you've had some idea on how the developers of the software or of the products could protect from misuse their products, and also to prevent some deepfakes using their products. Please.
Yeah, thank you for question. It was one of the biggest issue we faced when we realized that, yeah, we want to create as easy to use and as fast as technology can do it, tool for alternating video content. And then second thing, we realized that people will definitely misuse it, and reputational possible loss for us can be crucial. So somehow we need to protect, first of all, us, and then users and people that can be harmed by this stuff. So, for example, we are creating a tool that can allow anyone to create deepfake in 4 seconds. So, using one photo and 4 seconds, you can create deepfakes. For just for you to understand how big is it a leap compared to previous state-of-the-art technology in deepfakes. To create a deepfake using classical approach, you need to spend up to 2 days training neural network on the data set on hundreds or better tens of thousands of images of each identity, just to synthesize one video. So if you want to create a deepfake 20-second long, you need to spend, if you have a technical background, you have GPUs, computational power, you have face set and all this stuff, you need to spend at least a few days. Usually a high quality deepfake took up to 1 week or more time of professional specialist and video editor. What we are doing, we created pipeline that allows you to modify face of any person on any video using only your photo without need to train something. Just one photo, 4 or 5 seconds, and you have up to 20-second video, pretty high quality, of deepfake with your face. So after we created such API, we thought how we will productize it. So we have 2 types of product. One totally B2C product, it is a mobile app, and which is pretty popular, for example, in Ukraine, in Taiwan, right now also becoming popular in US, Russia, and as I remember, Asian countries like Philippines and so on. Right now, we are doing more than 2 million deepfake videos a day. But this video, first of all, we have total control on what people are modifying. So we are providing them content and allow them to modify faces only on this particular content. It is first line of defense. Second line of defense is our system is trained in such way that instead of simply modifying in realistic manner face on a video, our neural network also imprints in this final result invisible for human eye fingerprint. You will never recognize some visually noticeable artifact, but we have neural network that can detect with extremely high precision, can detect that such video was modified using our technology. So I don't believe in generic deepfake detection tool, because the next day someone will say we have generic deepfake detection tool. The next day you will have deepfake technology that can hack this deepfake detection tool. It is war that will never end, like virus and antivirus, because next state of the art on one side will always beat state of the art on the other side.
Yeah, Alice, it's clear. And so actually you provide the technical solution when you by yourself create a watermark, and you actually sign the deep fakes, let's call them, create within your products to actually to be able to detect what are the fakes and what are the true video. And
yeah,
yes, please.
Yeah. Even if video was transcoded, color corrected, cropped or rotated, so this invisible watermark is robust to different visual manipulation. So if someone wants to clear this watermark out, he will need a neural network only we have that can that is able to detect it. And also we have two types of watermarks. One watermark just signing that, yeah, this video is result of our system. And other watermark is more pro version, because we have B2C app, and also we have more high quality, slower, but more professional model that can create extremely realistic deepfakes. So such deepfakes can fool somehow more easily. So to minimize possible misuse of this pro version, which we are providing in our other product, Yva.ai, Reface Studio, for professional video editors and production studios, movie studios, and so on. And every client is totally de-anonymized. So if you are using our Reface Studio, we know who you are. And if you are using our Reface Studio, you know that every video you will create will have your unique watermark. And we will be able not just detect that, yeah, this video is a result of our system, but we will be able to detect that, yes, this video is a result of user ID and your user ID. So if you will misuse technology in a way that are totally inappropriate and harmful, technology that allows you to create such thing will easily de-anonymize you. So our point is that we need to provide people with as fast and as easy tool so that 99% of deepfakes in the internet should be created using our or similar technology. And then when most of these deepfakes created by technology, which by itself have this fingerprinting tool, we can minimize possible misuse as much as technology allows us. Because I don't believe in regulation stuff or this antivirus war.
Thank you, Alice. And Nino, if I may ask you, today we're experiencing the technological struggle between two superpowers, US and China. And we see it as the outcome was that the UK refused to use the 5G produced by Huawei, and they will replace it and swap with trusted vendors equipment like Nokia, Ericsson, others. And here you're actually the Georgian Silicon Valley. You even named the Silicon Valley. And what's your approach as you're well connected with the governmental officials? What is the Georgian approach in this competition? And sometimes it more looks like a new Cold War between the States, US, and China. On what side are you, or you prefer to try to be on the fence?
Well, good question. I would not consider to be on a certain side. I think that there are very interesting approaches in the United States looking at the AI strategy, which I mentioned several times today already. It's fantastic how well developed the whole vision is, but still we have to say that, for example, China has one of the biggest data pools in the world, which is open to academia, researchers, to entrepreneurs, which is also a fantastic opportunity to develop this tool and integrate it to the industry. So as for Georgia, well, we are, to be honest, we are far from having the center and very concrete action plan towards which we would act. But still, because we are a small country, the private and public sector is very much interconnected, and we have possibility to do things in a much faster way than in bigger countries. So I think that we should use this as an opportunity and not as look at it as the challenge. So still, we are involved in certain discussions with not only governmental entities but with international actors, whoever has bigger experience in delivering these tools on a global scale. So I think that if we will have time and the opportunity to further discuss it, maybe in September. I know that you are organizing a big summit. I'm not very much sure how much we will be prepared to give some certain action plan or some strategic point of view regarding this topic in September. But hopefully we'll have a much more clear vision regarding the actions which government is willing to take regarding this direction. So again, we are being very actively involved in communication. We as an institution are pushing this very hard because we see artificial intelligence as Gary has mentioned, it's a new electricity for sure. So raising awareness, developing some action plan is what we need very much in our country, and not only in our country, in the region overall. So let's hope, fingers crossed, we'll have some more things to say in maybe September.
Thank you, Nino. And Gary, for you to have 5-6 minutes left, I would like to ask you almost the same question, but from your perspective. When you look on it's more than just technological competition between the United States and China, and we see the will of the current administration to cancel the students' visas of thousands of Chinese students, and we see that there are some significant cases of technological espionage from China in the United States, and but always when we were talking about science, it was about sharing the information and using, developing the information that has been developed initially by others. And here we see that it kind of silicon curtain been falling like the Iron Curtain in the 1945. And what would be the impact on the technology in general, but also in AI technology development as a result of this, let's say, technological confrontation between the two superpowers?
I mean, the situation is the challenge is when you find China, we say having your hands in the cookie jar, right? So you find, hey, the F-35's developed, and then China's got the exact model, have stolen the plans. I mean, that's bad, right? That is like blatant. So I think, in terms of, I'm for an open world. I'm for people working together, but I also for people treating us fairly across the board. I'm Greek American. My relatives immigrated from Greece to the U.S. to be able to have a dream. And my thing is, hey, listen, let's figure out how we can work together. So, there is competition between China and the U.S. I mean, the one thing that's glorious about the U.S. is that there are people from all over the world, from Georgia, from the Ukraine, from Russia, from Belarus, that have come with dreams. And the one thing we do have is a dream. And I'm not sure that really exists in China, based on, having raised money there. I'm not sure people dream in the same way. So one of the challenges we have is that we've got to keep things moving forward, but you also got to trust but verify, as Ronald Reagan used to say, to make sure that people aren't taking advantage of us. And I think that's one of the things that we need to do, and trust and verify. And if things are all right, it's all right, and if not, we stop it, right? I don't believe that cutting student visas is the right thing, but I believe if those student visas allow people to steal secrets, that's bad, right? And if they've obviously done it for a reason, and so if they have done it because of that, that's bad. I want to be treated fairly. The thing is, it's interesting because I'm not sure how many Americans go to China to study, right? And what kind of, I'm sure they're under surveillance if they go to China. Well, it's kind of unusual. We don't have Americans at this university. So, so trust but verify. Let's try to have a level playing field. Let's try to treat people fairly. If we got to take a hard line because somebody's abusing the system, we got to take a hard line. That's it. You got to stop it.
But Gary, do you think that it will divide the technological world to two parts, the pro-China part and the pro-American or pro-Western, collective Western?
I think, the thing is we've got, you've got India too. We got to remember India's got 1 billion people. And I mean, India, and I'm on conferences a couple of times a week in Indian conferences. I mean, India is really rising. Some people forget it's not just a U.S.-China world, right? It's different. I mean, we all need to work together. So I think that it could do that. There's no question. But on the other side, China has a lot of the USST bills, Treasury bills, right? So they financed a lot of it. And we develop a lot of our products and manufacture them in China. So there's on one side, there's this competition. On the other side, we work together to keep our economies growing. So it's like a love-hate relationship. It's, and what I hope is it doesn't get to the point where we do, basically discontinue all kinds of technology transfer, because that wouldn't be good for any of us. Nobody. We need to focus on how to solve problems, how to solve the issue, the coming problem with population. We can't grow at 4x in the next 100 years, or this planet is going to be out of resources. Environmentally, we'll be in trouble. We got to figure out how to work together. I think one of the things we need to do is put a stake in the ground and say, listen, we've got a lot of common problems. Let's figure out ones that we can work on together to solve, and let's try to work out the issues and differences we have on the other side.
Thank you, Gary, and thank you, all of you, for this fascinating discussion. And I hope that this industry, thanks to people like you, Gary, you, Oles, and you, will make this world maybe a better and safer place, and not a more tricky place to live in. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anatoly. Great job.
Thank you.
Bye.